our first panel discussion, which is titled Mind, Body, Spirit Connection, Integrating Spiritual Well-Being into Healthcare Practices and How It Can Transform Patient Outcomes. Now, our panel is going to consist of Udit Sansangi, Dr. Hamid Kaur Grewal, Nate Zelensnik, and Dr. Annette Mungard, and of course, Sarah Kalia. So please put your hands together and welcome our moderator and panelists.
A very good morning to everybody over here. I hope you guys are enjoying the conference. Something which has always piqued my interest and curiosity all my life is spirituality. I consider myself very fortunate to be moderating the discussion for today, which is mind, body, spirit connection, integrating spiritual well-being into healthcare practices. So right at the outset, I think it's absolutely pertinent for all of us to define what the topic entails. Mind, body, spirit connection, what exactly is it? And then we can go on to further discuss spiritual well-being and integrating them into healthcare practices and improving patient outcomes. So right at the very outset, I'd invite my panelists to please provide a small introduction and also their interpretation of this topic, and we will take it from there. I'd invite Nate to first begin with what he thinks is mind, body, spirit connection, spiritual well-being, and the outcomes of having integrated it into his practices.
Uda, thank you very much, and welcome everyone. Nate Zelensnik from United States, from the state of Utah here. So for me, the importance of mind, body, spirit connection, as someone who has survived a near-death experience and chose to come back into my body, as someone who has over 37,000 hours of professional teaching, training, experience in the martial arts and meditation, energy development, I can say this, that we are much more than just our physical body. So when we have this opportunity to step in and we ask the question, what is real? For me, that is really what spirituality is about. It's not so much saying something is real as it is asking the right questions so that our higher self, our spirit, our soul can answer that for us, because all of us are going to have a different answer because we see and we experience through a different lens. So for me, it's a very subjective experience with it, that every single one of us, we might be on the path to Zion, but we all have a different route. And it's up to each of us to find that for ourselves. And luckily, we have amazing people on this planet to help guide the way. But at the end, it is our path and it's our destination. So how that relates to wellness, so many people don't even ask the right questions or at all. And so as long as we're asking, we will receive answers. And for me, that's the biggest thing, is having the right questions, because I want to know.
Thank you so much, Nate. That was extremely illuminating. I'd now invite Sarah to give her interpretation of the topic and introduce herself as well.
Yes, good morning, everyone. I'm Sara. I'm from Italy, from Milano, and I'm in the beauty and wellness industries. And I work in the spa, in the resort. And what I saw in all this year that I'm taking this business is that absolutely the spirituality is something that often goes with the holistic side that we can interpret in our life. So actually, the most important thing is thinking that we have to consider all the aspects of the human being, not only the body, not only the soul, not just to interpret something different. The point is that I think, and what I saw, I also did martial arts for many years. So, you know, when you go close to also the east side of the world concept, where they consider more all this view of the human being, you start to think and to consider in another aspect your daily life, absolutely. So what I think that we have considered is that how important is to develop our best side of ourselves. So what we can do daily is with, little steps, I think. This is the most important thing. Not thinking about only the huge thing we can do in life, but daily, step by step, try to get our best side, try to connect in the best, because, I think that the earth, the space, and it's like a microcosmo and a microcosmo. We are human beings, so we are part of the microcosmo, but the macrocosmo is everywhere. So what we have to do is try to think how our spirituality can go in all what we have around.
Thank you. So
Thank you.
it's about getting the best out of you, being in sync with the macrocosm as the microcosm, and it's also about having a holistic approach.
Yeah, exactly.
Thank you very much, Sarah.
Thank you.
I would now like to invite Annette to give her points of views on the topic and talk about a little bit what she does with her work.
Yeah, I'm Annette Mangert. I'm a family physician based in the Netherlands, and I work in a culturally diverse and underserved community. And we also work with a lot of refugees. And for me, spirituality in healthcare means that recognizing that we are more than our illness or conditions, and that the emphasis is on our individual resilience in adapting to life challenges. It means for me also that our lives are meaningful and that we are part of an ecosystem and that health interacts with nature and the environment and also our planet. And self-care and mental well-being is, in my opinion, also one essential dimension of spirituality. By prioritizing our own health, well-being, and abilities, we can provide a higher standard of care. And self-awareness is the foundation of self-care. So if we understand ourselves, our own traumas, and our own blocks, it is easier to form authentic connections with our patients, and so that we truly can listen to them. So I think it starts by ourselves as healthcare professionals. That's the basic.
Thank you, Annette. That's pretty insightful. Often we talk about a meaningful life, and I remember the founder of logotherapy, the Nazi survivor, actually wrote wrote a book called A Man's Search for Meaning, and he came up with an entire system of psychology, which is known as logotherapy, about finding your meaning and purpose in life. And I've often seen that meaning somehow ties in very close to spirituality. Nate will definitely have something to offer on that. However, I also appreciate you mentioning that you work with underserved populations, and I would invite one of the speakers to actually give their 2 cents on how that ties in with spirituality and how spirituality may or may not be available to these underserved populations. But before that, I would like Harmeet from Norway, a general physician, to please introduce herself and give her 2 cents on this topic.
So, good morning, everyone. My name is Dr. Harmeet Kaur. I'm a general practitioner based in Norway. I have decades of experience in the healthcare, and additional to that, I am a mindfulness and meditation teacher and Ayurveda instructor. So, my main purpose in my practice is to add or bring the modern medicine with the ancient wisdom to bring more holistic approach and balance in the wellness. So for me, health doesn't mean only absence of the disease, but the connection with the mind, body, and soul. So I believe that when we are in balance of all of this, we thrive in life, and when we neglect one of them, suffer can occur. So what I see in my practice is that we focus mostly on treating the disease, but we don't want to understand the root cause of the imbalance. So I think we need, for me, is finding the meaning, the connection, and a purpose in life. That's what I mean is spirit well-being, spiritual well-being.
Thank you, Harmeet. That's absolutely insightful. I think it's so important just for all of us to, shift our lens from the survival mindset of fighting a disease versus proactively chasing wellness and well-being, our fullest potential. All of us might have heard of Abraham Maslow's hierarchy of needs, and we look at survival needs in the beginning. But as we progress up, there's social needs, there's needs for society, there's needs for recognition, and eventually it is the need for self-actualization, actualization of our potential. I think that's a very insightful point. At this point, I would also like to invite Nate uh, to to speak about what Annette just mentioned about meaningfulness, which is again coming from abundance. Where do you think meaningfulness ties into spirituality and spiritual well-being?
So when it comes to down to meaningfulness, that's a very good question. And I think that since the dawn of time, since we humans had the ability to ask these important questions like, who am I? Where am I? Why am I here? What's my purpose? Where did I come from? Where am I going? We've been searching for meaning. Every philosopher for all of time has wanted to do this. But the interesting thing is that we live in a society, and we have for thousands of years, where we read books or we listen to prophets, we listen to people that tell us what our meaning is. But even Jesus said the kingdom of heaven is inside the hearts of all men. He wasn't just saying words for no reason. He was saying that for you to find out, you are the one who has to go and see this. And he's not the only one. This has been touted since time immemorial. So meaningfulness, that's a very important thing. A lot of people in this world don't feel like they have meaning. If any of you can relate, or the people who are watching right now live and will watch the replay of this, you do have meaning. Your meaning is to learn. Your meaning is to experience. No matter what it is, I really, after having died and come back to life, and I know that sounds strange, but many of us have had that experience, I realized that I chose this life. I chose to have all these experiences, as did all of us. And when we start to say and to ourselves, and we really feel it and know it, that there's no blame, but there is responsibility for every single thing that has ever happened in my life. Once we accept that power, we start to find that meaning, because we realize the meaning is to learn and to grow, not just as a physical body, because we all have to give that back at the end of our lifetime in either a casket or an urn. But our soul, our immortal part of us, that has no beginning and it has no end. This is simply a part of it. And if we're paying attention, that's where we can find the meaning.
Absolutely. So I think we arrive at the point that meaningfulness in our lives is absolutely important, I think, to our mental, emotional, and of course, our spiritual well-being. Now, Annette works a lot with underserved populations, and often their only concern is where do they get their next meal from? Where are they going to sleep that night? Where are they going to find the means for sustenance that day? I would invite everybody else, but first, Annette, if you could tell us a little bit about that and how spirituality ties into the lives of such underprivileged and underserved populations. Could you tell us a little bit about that, please?
Yeah, like you're telling, self-resilience is not for everybody achievable. And people with a low social economic status and living in an underserved community, they're often surviving instead of truly living. And they're struggling with poverty and social inequality and limited access also to resources. And for them, a spiritual dimension may have a totally different meaning than for us as a healthcare professional. And this I find always a very big challenge as a healthcare professional, who I am to judge about what they need and who can I find out what they need. And I'm convinced about a collective support that could be necessary to provide the assistance they need, and a community-based approach to care where people help each other. But still, spirituality is deeply personal. So also if we try to find a collective support and a community-based support, it still is an individual question. So, but I think it is a call to transform the structures around us to ensure that healthcare professionals and patients can thrive and not just survive.
Thank you, Anit. That's a very pertinent point. I think we all realize in the healthcare industry how important sense of community and support is for improving patient outcomes. And you know, even in ancient wisdom, they say you are the result of your environment. And if you have a faith-based community support system, that definitely improves your health, improves your mindset, and gives you a chance to bring into your life spiritual aspects, spiritual practices, which without that support, you might have been a little less motivated to do. Now, I think it's very proper for me to introduce Sarah to her this point and ask her, and Nate, you can also follow up with that. Is what about spirituality for these underprivileged and underserved populations? A guy who's worrying about his next meal, can he still be happy? Can there still be spiritual practices and fulfillment available to him?
Thank you. This is a good question because I'm working in the 5 stars luxury places, so actually people generally don't have problems with money. The point is that if we have, I think, to consider the other side of the world also, that is also very important, absolutely. The point is that what we can see is that probably because a lot of people are happy in any case, the people that are searching for a meal or something, and probably what I thought that is probably is the mindset, the way we are approaching to life, what we think, what we act, the way we see what is happening to us. So these people are smiling, are happy, and sometimes you think how they can do that because they are searching for the meal. So probably actually really is the mindset, and the spirituality I think is very high in this kind of people also. So I think that we have to have a look to these people also, helping also, and what we can learn from this mindset we can see. This is my opinion.
That's a wonderful point. Sometimes it's the most underprivileged who have the largest and widest smiles we see, enjoying life to the actual fullest. And I completely agree with that. I think we should take note from a small Himalayan kingdom right on the east side of India, Bhutan, and they're not very materially abundant, but they prioritize the happiness of their population. In fact, they have the gross, instead of the GDP, which is the gross domestic product, they have the gross national happiness. And I think that really brings to fore your point that you don't really need to be materially abundant to be happy. Nate, would you like to chip in with what practices are available, even if you have nothing in your hand right now?
So having had the honor of teaching and training and exploring different cultures throughout the world, what I've noticed, Udit, is some of the happiest, most contented people are the people who have the least in their material possessions. And I have also known billionaires who killed themselves. It's not what you have, it's what you're doing with what you have and who you're being. And so, Annette, your point, what you were talking about with people who may not be able to afford different, say, retreats. So I teach very high level individual one-on-one for professional athletes and CEOs, yes. I also offer free training. And the thing is that spirituality is available to every single person through, first of all, our breath. So going back through time, the word prana literally translates as breath. Qi Kung, if you hear qi, one of the translations in Chinese is breath. In ancient Greece, the word pneuma, like pneumonia or pneumothorax, it means breath. So this has been known forever. So everybody at home, let's do something fun. Do this with me. Fully. No exhale out. All the way fully, nothing left. Now, I want you to ask yourself a question. When was the last time you took a truly full breath on purpose and you used this amazing energy engine on purpose? In Islam, most of my friends, and all of them in Indonesia, are Muslim, and they said, it's very important that you breathe very slowly because God only gives you so many breaths. So if you want to live a long time, breathe as slow as you can. I'm like, whoa, okay, I'm on it. And so for all of us, we have that ability because we all are breathing, well, until we're not, in which case, then you don't need to worry about it. But for all of us, we have that available to us at any given time, 29,000 times a day. And all it takes is awareness and focus on that. And I like to ask two questions. So for everybody out there, if this helps you, it's my honor to help you because it's worked for me. I ask two questions. Where am I? And what time is it? Because it doesn't matter. Right now, my body is in Dubai, but no matter where I am, I'm here. And right now, it might be, 9:35 in the morning, but it's always now. So for me, if you ever feel like you're getting off your track of your spirituality and not paying attention to your life, if you ask yourself, where am I? What time is it? Oh, it's here and now. Bang, you're immediately present again, and you start looking at things with more gratitude. So that works for me. I hope it works for you.
Superb. That's just groundbreaking because the breath is something we always have at every point in time, and where are we? What time is it? It's always here and now. Wonderful, and thanks, Annette. That was sense of community and support system, faith-based support system is definitely extremely useful in elevating patient outcomes in the underserved and underrepresented communities. Sarah, definitely, we have seen that sometimes the most underprivileged. I mean, I see. There's a lot of so my country, where I come from, India. It's progressing, but we still have remnants of poverty, and it's often very learning for me when I'm at a traffic light and I see some underprivileged children and I see the smiles on their face, the glee and the joy that they are experiencing without really worrying about where the next meal is coming from. It brings me to a point of poignancy and reflection that I have so much. Is the true wealth what we actually possess, or is the true wealth what we possess inside us? So that is a question I think which often occurs to me, and I'd invite all of you to also reflect on that. Now I'd like to invite Dr. Harmeet to talk more about the practical applications of spiritual well-being in medical practice and what she has done with her patients, and if and at all if their patient outcomes have improved. We'll now be touching upon the practical applications, having established that we all have the tools for practicing spiritual well-being with us, even if we don't have anything, our breath and the present moment. Dr. Harmeet, take it from here, and yes, please tell us more.
Thank you, Udit. So, with my practice, I've been practicing as a physician for 10 years, and what I really see is the patient, they contact the doctor too late. And mostly they don't come with one symptoms. They always come with several symptoms. It could be weight gain, sleeping problems, muscle pain, depression, anxiety, etc., etc. So what I see is like the patient, when they come to the doctor and seek doctor help when the disease have occurred, and what I'm missing in this healthcare is the preventive medicine. I feel like there is less awareness among the population to take care of themselves. And I can mention, I have many stories to mention, but I can briefly mention myself. I have been undergone a burnout several times because of stress, internally, externally. And I remember the first time I went through burnout, I couldn't accept it. I was denying it and start to do the same thing again over and over and over again. And in the end, I realized that I needed to change something. Something was missing. So I started to open myself up. I opened myself up for practices, tools that truly helped me a lot. I remember I had sleeping problems, I had muscle aches. I couldn't perform as a doctor. And as we know, as Anna told us, that as a healthcare provider, we have to take care of ourselves before taking care of our patients. And I felt like I couldn't perform enough. So I started to integrate different practices that truly helped me. And I can see that I give those practices to my patient as well, and I can see that there is a difference. And they come back and say, Harmeet, I feel much better, I feel more happy, I feel more energetic. And what practices I implement is, I believe in the 7 pillars to well-being, where I focus on the number 1 is the sleep. Sleep is essential. Everyone knows that. If you don't have enough sleep, we will not function. Number 2 is movement. And movement could be just 30 minutes walk. You don't have to overdo. You can just like 30 minutes walk. I think just put the seeds, and I think the small steps bring huge changes in life. Meditation and mindfulness have helped me a lot, and I do daily meditation, and it give me so much energy. It can give me so much better performance as a healthcare professional as well. And the 4th is nutrition. I believe that what we eat, we become. And emotional freedom, emotional regulation, relationship, not only for yourself, but also relationship you have with your parents, family, colleagues, setting boundaries, and saying more no. And the last one I truly believe in is laughter. I think laughter is essential. It truly brings happiness into life. So spiritual well-being for me is truly finding the purpose, meaning and connection in life.
Thank you. I think we keep coming back to finding meaning, purpose, connection in our lives. I'm going to be, I hope you'll be willing to share the 7 pillars with everyone at the conference, and I definitely want to have a list of them. All right, so we have started on implementing practically spiritual practices to improve patient outcomes. I would definitely invite Sarah and Anate to come in over there. And then we will also be talking about, apart from self-care, what are the practices that we as practitioners need to do to serve our patients better. Bringing in Anate and Sarah to talk about their improvement in patient outcomes with integrating spiritual practices, and then we will talk about the personal spiritual practices which help us. Sarah, would you like to come in?
Thank you. This is absolutely a very important point for all of us, I think, depending by the job we do, what we do in our life. I want to be back in any case to the breath concept because, as I told you, I did martial arts for many years. My mom used to have yoga, so, you start to understand better which one is the importance of breathing because we are generally from the west side of the world, I'm talking more from the west side of the world. People breathe more with the upper part of the body and not with the lowest part here in the tummy. So that's the point because when you breathe, when you have a complete breath, you must breathe with your tummy. And with this kind of movement, you also help your internal organs to have like a self-massage. So this absolutely helps you to be healthier, to give also the oxygen to our molecules in our body. So this for sure will help us. And what I saw also in my business, because I also was a professor in academy that trained people to go in the beauty and wellness industries. What I always taught to the girls and to the guys was breathing, because this is one of the most important things. Because if you don't breathe well, absolutely, you are not able to give the right massage, the right treatment to the person. Because if your breath stops here, how you can go on without stressing your body too? So actually, this is one of the most focus I think we have to be back, to be You want to say something? Okay, okay. And this is the point, absolutely. So what we can do with this is absolutely try to be back to ourselves and to train ourselves again, because when we came into this world, breathing is the first thing we have to do to be here. If we don't do that, of course, we can't be here for our rest of the life. So absolutely, in my business, what I can say is that this is so important. This is the base to go on and to help people in, as I said, to the treatment, to the experience we want to give to them, because I want to. Actually, I'm also following some projects where we are taking the concept of spa out of the, of the treatment room, where you work with the vibrations also, where we are working with the singing bowls, with very good professional, with the gongs, and sorry, luckily now there are some scientific studies that are proving that this kind of experiences let people go into some kind of state where this helps absolutely to feel like better, but because of everything is vibrating. So maybe because sometimes we are in burnout or we are in that kind of situation, we are not able in that moment to think again that we can do something, we can go back to do something. And so that's why sometimes we have to help us. And what I can do is helping people also in this and for feeling better. And maybe with that kind of experience, you can just feel better in that moment. But because in that moment your body is still feeling better, your think is that, okay, I can be better again in any case. And of course, there are wonderful doctors in the world that they can help you for sure. I'm very close also to the Ayurvedic point of view. So I think that is one of the most amazing, kind of thing that can help you. And because they teaching you from the beginning, and they also helps you, with the herbs and what we naturally have in this world. So I think that, step by step, all of us is going to the right point. Thank you.
That's a brilliant point, Sarah. I mean, taking the spa out of the spa room and bringing it to everywhere that you are. And yes, you can do that. Why can't you have a sound healing in offices, in corporate offices? Why can't you have a sound healing at your home? You can utilize these tools which can help you raise your vibrations. Once your vibrations are raised, you're feeling better, you're thinking better, you're doing better. So I think that's a beautiful point that you brought up, and it's definitely we can't be dependent on geographies to start feeling good. Okay, I need to go into the spa to start feeling better. I think we do need to carry our personal spa, our personal meditation room along with us, and we always have our breath for that. So that is absolutely beautiful. Um, I would now invite Neat and Annette to also talk about a little bit about how they integrate their spiritual practices before they meet their patients, their clients, and how spiritual practices not only help when they are prescribed to clients or guided to clients, but also help them themselves deal with their clients. So Annette or Nate, whoever would like to go first, please take the mic. And
Annette, please.
Yeah, as I said before, I think it starts really by yourself. So I try always, if I see a patient, that I first look at the dossier, that I know who is coming and which problems has got a patient, and that I also really try then to connect with myself and then also with the patients. And I have days where I don't feel so good, and then I directly get a feedback from the patient, this doesn't work. So for myself, I think it's very important to have a good nutrition, to sport, to do meditations. But I think that is very easy if you have, if you're living in a certain milieu. my patients, they can't afford good food, and they also most of the time don't have really time to move. So we are really thinking what could be a possibility to what could be free for patients. And in my opinion, that's nature. And nature has really a healing effect on people. And there are studies where you, about just 2 hours per week spending in nature can have a significant result also on chronic diseases like obesity, of diabetes, of sleeping disorders. So, and in the Netherlands, there is a new movement that we can also make a prescription for nature. Nature on recipe, it's called. I find it a little bit a difficult term because like that, we also go again in the direction of a medicalization. And I think we just should go the opposite side, that what we have, the resources we have to use. And it doesn't have to go via a prescription from the doctor, but just that we give a little bit help to think in this direction.
Beautiful point, Annette. I think nature is the best healer. In fact, that's one of the tenets of the pathy, one of the pathies, which is naturopathy. Nature can absolutely heal and make you whole, make you healthy, make you holistic, make you, your whole, basically. I think that's a beautiful point. Nate, would you like to comment on how you utilize spiritual practices or yourself, for patient outcomes?
First, I'm clapping for Annette, because that's a beautiful point. Thank you for bringing that up. And it does start with us as the healers or as the practitioners, because here's an interesting thing. There are many people in the medical world that, we talked about this at lunch, they might only get 12 or 13 minutes with a patient. It's got to be in and out as fast as possible. But I would ask the physicians or the people who treat people, are you treating each person as individuals, or are you treating them as a number? And why that's really relevant is that when we start to come from a place of appreciation and gratitude that we get to serve these people, we chose to be in this profession. There are a lot of people in the medical world that people are just a number. None of the people on this panel have anything but love for the people that we serve. And when we come to our clientele with that love, with, I am here to serve you. I was born, I chose this entire life to be right here with you right now and serve you right here, right now. And I'm so grateful. Thank you, God, that I get to do this. If you have this gratitude, appreciation, this love for life, and you come to your clients with that, a couple things happen. Physiologically, we know that when you're in a state of gratitude, your immune system function goes up. But you also start releasing vasopressin, endorphins, dopamine, oxytocin, those feel-good chemicals. We get those. But if we're in a state of depression or anger, then we start producing cortisol and we start to break ourselves down. And we talked yesterday at lunch, and Annette was like, yes, I talk about this too. On the plane ride here, I watched the safety briefing and they had the masks drop down. They said, hey, if we lose cabin pressure, put the mask on yourself first before anybody else, because how are we going to serve if we're sick? It's very difficult to be in a spiritual place when your body is in dysfunction. And so that's very important. So Annette, thank you for making that point. When we start to take care of ourselves, it's so much easier to care for other people. And I am personally not Christian, but in the Bible where Jesus said, treat thy neighbor as thyself, my interpretation is he was talking about treat thy neighbor as if they are exactly you. They're not like you, they are you, another version of you having experiences. So when we start to look at our patients, not as our patients, but another version of ourselves that we love deeply and we're here to care for, that makes all the difference in the world. All the difference in the world.
Thank you, Nate. Absolutely. And I completely agree with that in my very own practice, like Annette just mentioned as well. The state that you're in largely determines the healer that you can be. If you are not centered, if you are frazzled, if you are not in the present moment, if you are not feeling okay, like on days when you are not feeling okay or depressed or feeling anxious, the amount of good that you can do with your patients, definitely with your clients, is hugely impacted. And it also ties into what Harmeet said about having the self awareness of where you're at. If you are burnt out, if you don't have enough oxygen coming to you, you need to first put the oxygen mask on yourself before you intend to help another person. So I think that comes, having gone through burnout, I think that comes with a lot of self-awareness, self-introspection, and being aware of the present moment and where you are at. Um, this ties in a lot with some of the discussions in the previous panel discussions where people mentioned about being more in touch with their body. I think, Nate, you talk a lot about being in the present moment. I think one of the doorways and one of the portals of being present along with the breath, which is again in the body, is being present in the body. I think one of the people who talks a lot about present body awareness is Eckhart Tolle from Canada, and he talks a lot about being mindful of the energetic body, and that is along with the breath. That is another doorway and portal to being in the present. So I think these are absolutely absolutely pertinent points, and now. If any of you all would like to talk about, we have a buzzword nowadays about holistic healing, about alternative healing, and coming from a functional medicine background, we try to integrate both the conventional medicine approach, the Western approach, with the alternative approach, whether it's naturopathy, whether it's Ayurveda, whether it's traditional Chinese medicine. I know, Sarah, you did mention about holistic approach and how it ties into spirituality. So any of you all, Sarah, if you would like to talk a little bit about the holistic approach and spirituality's role in that, please go ahead.
Yes, thank you. And I just want to mention also the gratitude. I wanted to be back to this point that Nat says, because when we talk about the spirituality also, I think that the gratitude is one of the most amazing concepts that we can have, that we can hack the daily. Because with the gratitude mindset, we can completely change, I think, our life. Because very often we are, so impressed by everything happening and what is going on, but we don't really have often a gratitude concept to what we have, to what we do, to what we. It's just, that the mindset that you must take what life is giving you, and with a very gratitude concept that you take this, maybe you have an experience, maybe you can do something with that, you can develop, or maybe you can also be sad in that moment. This is what life is. But being gratitude is really important. And being back for the spiritual and the holistic point of view is that what we can do, and what I can give also to with my business into this, and what I think every one of us can give to it is that, as I said before, we have wonderful doctors also all over the world that are changing the concept, and so they are considering all the human being in the complete aspect, and this is very important, I think, because until now probably we were too stressful also in that point. And, the patient was like numbers, not considering the personal state of mind. And what I saw, I'm from Italy, so what I saw from I call the ancient doctors, is that before, and I still know one, and I really love him, because when you go to him, it's not like 10 minutes and you're out. The last time I went to him, I was like 1 hour and a half or something like that, because, okay, he's like 70 or something like that now, 75 years old. But it's like considering the total person can really change, how people can, and how the doctors can help people. And what I can do is, in my business, is absolutely try to help people to feel better. And as I said, luckily there are scientific studies that are helping us also to to help people, with the vibration, more than only, the practical part. So, and very often the both goes together. So absolutely, I think that we are going to like a new and old world where everything is going better, I think.
Absolutely, it's we're looking at an integrative approach, and I truly believe that part of the healing process. Someone mentioned that when is the patient interjected when he comes to tell his story, his or her story, and someone responded that it's within 7 seconds. I believe tying into what piggybacking on what Nate said is that they're not just another number at your office. You need to create space for the patients to tell their story. Not only does it give you more information about their story and more data points, it's also a part of the healing process. So I think that was a very beautiful point, and that really ties into holism. Nate, would you like to come in before we have the last topic for our discussion today, Nate, quickly? Sure.
So for many years, and maybe people can relate to this, that we find something that works and then we stick with only that. And so why I founded my new business, the Integrated Ascension Method, is exactly what we're talking about as far as holistic solutions. So instead of only using this breath work from a royal family in Java that I pioneered in America 25 years ago, now I incorporate things like vibroacoustic therapy, Tibetan singing bowls, nutrition, supplementation, biohacking, binaural beats and brainwave entrainment, EEG brain training, because we have all this neat technology, but using it in the right way so that we can really help people become the very best versions of themselves and healthier here. This also helps to equate to healthier here as well. And just like we can make ourselves sick with our mind, we can also make ourselves well in many cases. And so that's why I think it's so important to find out what really works for you. We have this amazing variety of technologies, of practitioners, of theories, things that you could try, and we're discovering things all the time. Well, this is what's amazing right now. We get a chance to do this and experience things that our ancestors, our relatives, they never got a chance to do this. And so we have all these things. That's why I think it's so important. It's not just new technology. It's how we use it in our mind, in our heart, in our spirit to make ourselves better as a whole person and healthier as a whole person too. So I'm all for integrating all kinds of neat technology. I'm a nerd, I'll admit it. I want every amazing technology that there is, and I want them all to work together. So I'm with you.
Beautiful. Absolutely. I think integrative medicine or function, whatever you want to call it, is definitely the way forward. It's been a very insightful and intriguing discussion with my fellow panelists over here, and we've got to learn a lot about what spiritual practices are, whether it's available to only the rich or whether anybody can do it. We've spoken about practical applications of spirituality into the clinical setting. And we also then spoke about how our personal well-being, our personal spirituality, spiritual practices are absolutely essential, and they cannot be done away with if you want to improve patient outcomes. Last but not the least, in the last couple of minutes that we have before we throw the house, we throw it open to all of you to ask us questions. I want to touch upon the topic of root cause medicine, right? Root cause medicine. Now, we all talk about getting away from symptomatic band-aid cures to getting into root cause medicine. While we were converged yesterday for lunch, some of you, I think, including Nate, brought about this point that how can you even get into root cause without addressing spirituality? Because as many of us believe that our body is a transient boat for this journey from birth to death, and our journey continues beyond that. A lot of our, and today science also establishes very well that how a lot of our physical manifestations of disease come from the mind and beyond, whether it's our emotions, whether it's our subconscious minds, whether it's patterns that have not been healed. So I just wanted to kind of make a point and just give you all a little bit of food for thought, that how can you actually heal without getting into the root, and what is the root, what is the deepest part of you? It's probably, you would come from the body, you would come down to the mind, you'd probably go to the subconscious mind and emotions, and then you would probably need to delve into the world of spirituality. I do believe that that's absolutely essential if we want long term cures, we want long term solutions, and eventually be well. I always make this point in my practice: to be healthy, you need spirituality. To be well, you need spirituality. But you can be well just if you choose to. Health is important, but it's not a prerequisite. We had a person with blood cancer yesterday at one of the panelists, and he's living a fulfilled, thriving life. So you need to be well to be healthy, but you don't have to have prime health to be well. And that is where the realm of spirituality, I think, enters all of our lives. We eventually want to be well. We can say we want our markers to be fine before we be well. We can say we want a six-pack ab or or a size 0 figure before we want to be well. But the fact of the matter is that we can choose to be well when we choose to. And all of these prerequisites are just prerequisites we're creating for ourselves. And if you all want to jump in for the last couple of minutes, and then we'll throw it open to the house. If anybody has any questions, please feel free. We have a minute to go, so we can throw it open to the house and have some involvement from all of you. I'm sure it's a different topic from the other topics we've had yesterday, but it does tie in very closely to some of the things which have we've been mentioned about hearing the patient's story, about having an integrative approach, about seeing the whole person, not just the patient and numbers. So yes, I see Nusrat is here to ask a question. If anybody else is interested to ask a question to any of the panelists, please, we're looking forward to it.
Yeah. Good morning, everyone. Thank you for bringing up this discussion. What I wanted to know from you is that, as you know, the healthcare services are really overburdened these days, everywhere in the world. So when we talk about mind, body, and spirit, it becomes a kind of philosophical discussion. And how do you think that you can advocate the policymakers to bring it into healthcare practices? Because it's not just about the group of people here listening to how we are, because we are all educated, learned, we know that we have to have a sense of gratitude or whatever we can call it to feel better in our bodies and to live well. But as a policy maker, or how do we think we can integrate into healthcare practices? So any one of you. Thank you so much.
Right. So her question is basically, how do we integrate that into policy to make it part of the practices which are there in the mainstream? Would any of you all want to take that question?
Now, what I see by a lot of patients is their mind wants to go on and the body says stop. And the connection between body, spirit, and mind, it's broken. So, and I think if you're higher educated, this is even a bigger problem. So if you just try to go on non-verbal therapies, where you feel your body and via your body, you get a connection with your mind again. And for example, we have psychosomatic therapies or like haptonomy and those therapies we use in the Netherlands, like to get back the connection via the body to the mind. So we do it the opposite way.
Yeah. Great. So anybody else, or should I add to that?
Since I'm not in this field, I don't really feel that I am qualified to ask how policy in medical situations should change, since I'm not involved in that.
Yeah, sure. So Nusrat, coming from the country of India, and I know that you're into neuroscience and neurodegenerative disorders, and we had a very nice discussion where you told us, where we discussed about catching people when they're young, before the neurodegeneration happens, catching them when they're young. And I think that's happening a lot in the country that I'm coming from, with a lot of impetus on yoga, which is absolutely incomplete without spirituality. Spirituality is an integral part of yoga. If you think it's just a bunch of stretches, it's just a bunch of poses, which are just to give you some flexibility and some other physical benefits. That's not the whole concept of yoga. Yoga is incomplete. Its absolute basis is spirituality. So I think it's about integrating such practices, whether it's yoga in India, whether it's Tai Chi in China and other parts of the world, or whether it is Unani medicine, which also looks into your doshas like Ayurveda and looks at your physical and mental makeup. So I think it is, whether it's, I was in India and I met this German scientist who's doing research on Agni-hotra. Agni in Sanskrit means fire, Hotra means healing. And it's about leveraging the healing powers of the sun and fire to improve not just your own health, but it is scientifically proven and studies have been conducted to show how it improves organic farming. Agni-hotra done on a piece of land with organic farming, and one piece of land, no Agni-hotra done, there have been marked differences. So it's about, it's about politicians, about the leaders of our world, taking the onus for making it part of the education system, right? Catch them when they're young, and then also to popularize it. Like we have today International Yoga Day. Similarly, we have other facets which are being brought into the system. I can talk about my country. It is being brought into the mainstream. And I think the onus is on all of us to convince our leaders and hold them responsible for making it part of the policy and education system.
Thank you, Udit. Thank you so much. I'd like to add to it that in these kind of networking sessions, I think we should get more and more policymakers on board also. So because when we are talking about health, and we as scientists end up discussing so many good things which the policymakers are unaware of. So it will be a direct one-to-one experience of them, and so that they can take it, the knowledge from here, what we discuss, and then inculcate into the policy making, and that's how the change begins. Thank you.
Does anybody have any question? Hello,
Hi.
sir.
I don't have question. Just really thank you for what you brought up. And as alternative medicine treater and global trainer, what you have said, especially in the breathing, this is the most we have to practice this daily. Most of my patients coming, I just tell them, do this. Before you sleep, you put your back in the bed, start breathing for 10 times. You take it from your nose, keep it in your lungs for a while, as long as you can, then breathe it 8 to 12 seconds or time. And I swear to God, most of them, they cover from most of the problems they have. And this is very important, breathing, because we are changing the oxygen inside the body or putting the oxygen inside body. So my experience, if you have any problem in your body, think of it and do this. Keep it in your lungs as long, and especially you have to put it in your stomach, not only in the chest, and just get it out for 8 to 12 count like this. And think of your problem in your body. After you can finish, the turn you finish, fill your body, the pain or the place you are thinking of it. What's going to happen to it? You feel oxygen going in it. So thank you for bringing this to us. And this is really, really, it's the better than any medicine in the world, in my opinion. Thank you very much for this.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you. All right, thank you. I hope you guys enjoyed our panel discussion, and thanks to all of you for bringing so much value and insight and opinions over here. I'm really grateful to all of you, and yes, all of us. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.